What would you do if your homeland was torn apart from two sides? At the beginning of the 10th century, the Eastern Roman Empire had this fate, because in the Balkans there was a large Bulgarian state which time and again tried to conquer more and more lands of the empire, and in the East bloody and continuous battles were fought with the Arabs. In such a situation, the wise Greeks made a decision that they traditionally inherited from their ancestors. They hired outsiders to solve their problems. Therefore, having gathered a large army of mercenaries, they led him to the lands of the Bulgarians. But the then Tsar Simeon, a pupil of Constantinople, gave the Greeks a beating, separated the Bulgarian charge, and died. But Byzantium did not get any better from this. And then the wise Greeks decided to make a different decision, which they always made. They asked someone else to solve their problems. My Knyaz.
It's you, Svinet. I'm here thinking about how much grief I've brought to the other people. War, I only think about this damn war. Yes, I enjoy killing people, burning villages, but I feel like it's not right. Maybe it's time to stop this madness.
Oh, a letter just came from the Romans. They ask us to attack Bulgaria, but if you have such heavy thoughts, then maybe... Constantinople turned to Kiev to resolve its problems with Bulgaria. And Kiev didn't care if there's someone to fight with, then Georg, I'm coming for you. Byzantium was aware of the danger posed by the Rus. It even had to pay them considerable sums of money at times to refrain from attacking Roman cities. Therefore, pitting one enemy against another was, in the eyes of the Byzantine Emperor, a brilliant decision. But the Kiev Knyaz Sviatoslav was no fool either and had his own plans for Constantinople. The brave planned not only to conquer the Bulgarian state, but also to bring it over to his side in the war against the Greeks, and since the Bulgarian people couldn't stand the Roman yoke, such plans were more than just realistic. Having gathered about 10,000 swords, the Knyaz of Kiev set off along the Dnipro, reached the Black Sea and finally entered the mouth of the Dunay. The Bulgarians did not expect the Rus attack, but they were still able to quickly gather their troops and line them up in front of the shore. When Sviatoslav came down, he took up an attacking position with the strongest warriors at the front. And all you need to know about the tactics of the Rus army is that they do not like to waste time. So, with a swift march, the Rus smashed the Bulgarian ranks and started cutting them down in the brutal battles. The Tsar troops gathered weakened and were no longer able to resist the Kiev army. In the end, Sviatoslav the Brave won the battle and finally began to advance into enemy territory. Within a short period of time, the Knyaz managed to capture the entire country and settled in Preslavic, where he began to collect duties from the Dunay trade route. Greetings, Emperor. I have good news. Sviatoslav has captured Bulgaria as you wished.
Just as I planned. God, I'm so smart. Built a few monuments in my honor.
Yes, Emperor, and one more thing. Our profits has fallen significantly and trade has deteriorated considerably.
What? Why?
Because Sviatoslav collects high duties on goods. As a result, our profits are falling and the market price are rising.
But how?
You see, my Emperor, Rus controls all 3 sea routes to Constantinople. Therefore, it can set its own price for passage, and there is no way around it. What shall we do? We will hire outsiders to solve our problems. Brilliant. Byzantium paid the Pechenegs to besiege Kiev, saying that Sviatoslav was far away and would not be able to gather an army so quickly. The Pechenegs, who had recently been allies of Rus, did just that. Sviatoslav's mother Olga led the city's defense. She was quite successful, repelling the attacks of the Normans. Meanwhile, the Knyaz of Kiev quickly gathered troops from the garrisons of the Bulgarian cities and headed back to the capital. The capital itself was still holding out, but its resources were running low. That is why Knyazina Olga decided to send a young man from Kiev to seek help. He knew the Pechenegs language well, so the Turkic tribes easily accepted him as one of their own. The young man, having left Kiev, managed to find the voivode Pretich, who was also standing near the capital and thinking about how to save it. but going against such a huge horde was a little scary. Okay, let's take a poll. Who is afraid of the Pechenegs? Okay, 1, 2... Okay, good. And who is afraid of Sviatoslav? So it's decided. Small Rus troops began to approach Kiev and blow their horns loudly. The Pechenegs thought that Knyaz himself had returned with his army and were so scared that they immediately began peace negotiation. Oh, you're dead. He is coming. You hear? He is coming. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes. Oh, I really wouldn't be in your shoes. We surrendered. The Rus exchanged weapons with the Pechenegs to confirm peace and then went the separate ways. When the main army arrived, Sviatoslav only had to triumphantly enter the gates of the magnificent city after his successful Bulgarian campaign. Also, by the way, the Knyaz received a letter from the locals complaining, "If you go on another campaign and leave us to fend for ourselves, we will fight." Byzantium, meanwhile, was going through difficult times. Emperor Nikifor II was now practically popular among the elite of the Roman population. Also, he was a hero of the war with the Arabs and deeply religious man, but his achievements were overshadowed by recent failures. That is why an assassination attempt was planned against the emperor, led by his wife Ioannes and his nephew Ioannes, a family from which one can take an example. Ioannes, is anyone here?
No, come in.
So we just go ahead and kill our emperor?
Bam. That's not right and cruel.
Don't worry, I will do it.
No, I will strike first.
Hey, I've dreamed of this all my
Damn
life.
it was my idea in the first place, so I will do it.
Okay, now this is really going to be inconvenient.
After the successful coup, Tzimiskes became the new emperor, who was well known in the empire for his commanding skills. In order to legalize his position on the throne, he sent Ioannes to a monastery because, damn it, she shouldn't have betrayed her husband. Then he married a woman from the Macedonian dynasty and finally repented for his brutal murder. So everything is fine, guys, he apologized. That year was not limited to the death of Nikifor alone, for then a truly important woman died, both for the Rus and for the entire Christian world, Olga. She was Sviatoslav's trusted support, and the Knyaz loved her very much. Therefore, the death of his mother hit him hard. The brave butch Olga according to her wishes in Christian tradition. He carried out a small reform, distributing power in the Rus among his sons, and returned to Bulgaria. This time he was in even more furious state than usual. Meanwhile, Tsar Peter I died in the Bulgarian lands, and his son Boris took his place, immediately beginning to establish peace with Byzantium. This did not please the local population, who were completely satisfied with Sviatoslav, as he did not encroach on their freedom. The Knyaz of Kiev landed on the shores of Bulgaria for the second time and conquered the country again, brutally suppressing all disasters and rebels. After this success, the Romans politely asked Sviatoslav to leave Bulgarian lands, but he did not care. Unlike Nikiforos, Ioannes Tzimiskes considered the Knyaz of Kiev to be the greatest threat to the empire, so having gathered the best commanders and a powerful army, he set out to resist the Kievan troops. That's it, Sviatoslav, you're done for.
Shut your mouth, you miserable fool! You don't even know who you are dealing with!
I know exactly who I'm dealing with, you idiot, and if you keep pushing me, I will kick your ass so hard you won't be able to sit down for years.
Oh, I'm so scared, you damn traitor! Doing innocent people, you monster!
You do it too.
Well, at least I don't pretend to feel sorry.
Alright, I'm coming for you.
No, scum, I am coming for you! Write it down for him!
Okay. The next year, Sviatoslav troops entered the Byzantium province of Thrace and laid siege to the fortress city of Archidiopolis. The Greek troops went into battle, but were quickly defeated. The remains of the Romans hid in the fortress. Sviatoslav himself sent part of his army to plunder Macedonia, but Constantinople was not yet ready to start a war, so it had to pay Sviatoslav a ransom to leave the lands of the Romans alone. The Knyaz definitely did not like the proposition, but since Ioannes had bribed all of the Rus allies, he had no choice but to take the money and return to Bulgaria. However, the following year, the Byzantine Empire managed to quickly assemble a huge army and attack Sviatoslav's possession from the south. The Greek army suddenly appeared near the Bulgarian capital and laid siege to it. The Rus did not expect this, but still went into battle together with Bulgarian warriors. The defense was led by voivode Sviatoslav. The warriors repelled numerous attacks, but despite their fire resistance, they were unable to withstand the superior enemy. The Greeks defeated the Ukrainian garrison and conquered the city. The remaining fighters joined Sviatoslav, who was gathering an army near Rostov. The Romans did not want to give the Rus time to prepare, so Ioannes immediately marched on the army of the Knyaz of Kiev. And it was there where the first battle between the two great commanders took place. The Knyaz managed to build rows of walls, ordering his men to tie close their shields and spears. Meanwhile, Ioannes lined up his armored cavalry against Rus and placed his chairs behind them. The battle began with heavy shooting by the Byzantine army at the Rus positions. Then the cavalry itself rushed into battle, hoping to break through the Rus defenses. However, the Rus stood strong and the Greeks, horsemen, were unable to do anything. The fierce battle lasted all day until evening, with Sviatoslav managing to gain the upper hand. Tzimiskes was forced to retreat, and the Rus, having also suffered heavy losses, retreated back to the fortress. Thus began the bloody siege. Although the Empire's army was about twice as large, it was unable to break through the Rus defenses. The Kiev warriors made occasional raids on the Roman supply trains, obtaining food and provision for themselves. While Ioannes kept the lead of his army near Sviatoslav, an unsuccessful coup took place in Constantinople. In addition, the Arabs began to push hard from the east, causing the Empire's situation to worsen. Hey Sviatoslav, I don't have time for all this nonsense. Come out and let's settle this like real men.
You want to fight? With me? One-on-one?
Yes.
Did you hear this, guys? Are you tired of living, damn it?
By the way, the fight never happened. Both sides lost many soldiers and famous commanders, but unlike the Rus, the Romans not only had the opportunity to replenish their supplies and personnel, but also constantly bombarded the fortress with the thrown throwers. The Rus began to concentrate in the Rada, where there were different opinions and ideas, but the Knyaz of Kiev managed to convince them of the importance of the battle.
We have nowhere else to go. Willing or unwilling, we will stand against the enemy. We will not desecrate the Rus lands, but we will lie here in our graves. For the dead feel no shame, but if we run away, we will be ashamed. I will go ahead of you, and if I fall, think for yourself. To arms, my brothers, to arms!
On July 20, 971, the final battle happened. The Rus army lined up in the Varangian wall. Ioannes placed his infantry in the center and his cavalry on the flanks. The Kiev army rushed into battle and was the first to strike its enemy, mercilessly destroying the first rank of the Romans. The Romans began to retreat, and Emperor Ioannes had to personally bring in reserves to stabilize the situation. The Greeks began to crowd together, so Tzimiskes gave order to retreat slowly, which the Byzantine troops began to do. The Rus followed them, putting up more and more resistance. Around this time a huge windstorm arose, blowing dust into the eyes of the Rus. But they continued to press forward, forcing the Greek troops to retreat further. However, because of the dust, the Kiev army did not notice the Greeks' maneuvers, and the Byzantine cavalry managed to strike from the sides and semi-encircle the Ukrainian army. These conditions forced the attack to be called off, and the rest of the warriors to return to the fortress.
Well, guys, no problem. The winner is the same loser who tried again, right? Shall we go for a second round?
Давайте без мене, щось взагалі не хочеться, я не знаю. The Knyaz no longer had enough strength to continue the fight, so he offered peace, which the Byzantine gladly accepted, as they themselves were exhausted by the war. During the peace negotiation, the Knyaz and the Emperor agreed to simply part ways. The Ruthenians returned to Rus with all their goods, but gave up all the Bulgarian land they had captured. Finally, Sviatoslav met with Ioannes to shake hands, confirm all agreements, and simply talk heart to heart. So, did you get to taste my eggplant?
What eggplant? It was more like a bean. How's crust, by the way? Oh, right. He's dead.
Just like Svenkel, you scum.
And you are so brave, hiding behind your troops.
I have Rus blood on my hands too, you fool.
Watch the blood. Don't let it
How
on your hands.
long will this be?
Hey,
A long time. Leave us? Thank you. Friend, didn't I kill you, by the way? Friend, we are all the same.
You know what I mean.
Oh, right. Sviatoslav left Bulgaria. Despite not being a winner, he retained his honor and dignity, still enjoying the reputation of a great warrior. However, the Greeks are known for hiring others to solve their problems. This time, they again hired the Pechenegs to ambush the Knyaz. The Rus found out about this. Svinet even suggests that the Knyaz bypassed the rapids on horseback, but the stubborn Sviatoslav would rather fight and die than bypass the enemy. Therefore, the Kiev army split up here. Some of the fighters led by Svinet rode to Kiev on horseback. Some remained with Sviatoslav. But the Kiev Knyaz first tried to deceive the Normans and spent the winter there. The winter was harsh, which only weakened the army, and when Sviatoslav finally set off to return home, he realized that the Pechenegs were not going anywhere. The Knyaz fought his last battle and died in it. According to the chronicler, the Pechenegs made a cup out of the Knyaz school, which they used to serve drinks at a banquet. But don't be sad about it. Sviatoslav lived as a warrior and was honored to die as one. And also Sviatoslav is not a good example for your child. Such a brutal man definitely deserves a place on my wall. And the next time I think about a bloody and terrible battle, Sviatoslav will definitely be leading it. Because having nothing, he managed to create the most powerful empire of the 10th century during his lifetime. And this story will never disappear.